Welcome again in my online session on multiple choice questions on pharmaceutical analysis. We'll continue with the MCQs. Here the question is, in a mass spectrophotometer, the sample can be introduced in the form of solid, liquid, gas, or by all means, all of the above. Now here, if you look at the functioning of mass spectrometer, here there are various components like sample inlet system, ionization chamber and mass analyzer. Different kind of sample inlet systems can be used, where the gaseous sample can also be introduced. This GCMS, the outlet of GC can be coupled with MS, or LCMS. The liquid sample also can be introduced into the mass, or even solid can be introduced as a sample in a mass spectrometer, because the solids can directly be converted into gaseous ions. It is a kind of desorption ionization technique. So here, if you look at the question, in a mass spectrometer, the sample can be introduced in the form of solid, liquid as well as gas. So the answer should be all of the above. Moving to next, the most intense peak in the mass spectrum is known as molecular ion peak, isotope peak, parent peak, or a base peak. This is again a clear, a straight question available in a book, a line pick. That is, the most intense peak in a mass spectrum is known as a base peak. Normally, a base peak is formed after first fragment of the molecular ion. The molecular ion is ion where one electron from that molecule is removed, forming a positively charged species. This is a molecular ion. And a parent ion and molecular ion both are same. Isotopic ion is our isotopic peak is a peak due to an isotope, that is carbon 12, carbon 13. So this is what is the differentiation between these different type of peaks, and a base peak is a most intense peak observed in the mass spectrum. Moving to next, in mass analyzer, what type of ions are separated on the basis of mass to charge ratio? Now if you look at the technique in mass spectrometer, the sample is introduced, then it is ionized, and the ions are separated. Here, when it is ionized or followed by fragmentation, various positively charged as well as negatively charged species are formed. Here, negatively charged species are removed from the stream, and only positively charged fragments or positively charged species are separated on the basis of their mass to charge ratio by use of either magnetic field or electric field or both. So here the answer is positively charged species. Though tick you can see on the screen at negative, the answer is positively charged species here. The rule applicable in mass spectrometric analysis is, again a straight question, thumb rule, oxygen rule, carbon rule, nitrogen rule. The well known is a nitrogen rule here. There is no like oxygen rule or carbon rule. There is a thumb rule, but it is not applicable here. So it is a straightforward line pick question, that the rule applicable in mass spectrometric analysis out of these is nitrogen rule. Next one, in mass spectrometer, fragmentation takes place according to. See, again it is a straight one, the fragmentation of ions in, or fragmentation of molecule or a species in a mass spectrometer, it takes place on the basis of the transfer of hydrogen. Okay. Next one, ion source in which solid is directly converted to the gaseous state. In earlier question, the reference came in that an ionization technique where solid can be directly converted into a gaseous state ions. Here its technique is known as a desorption source, solid to vapors. So answer here is a desorption ionization. So ionization, if you look at, there are different types of ionization techniques: gaseous ionization, electron impact ionization, chemical ionization, or desorption ionization of FAB, fast atom bombardment. A lot of ionization methods are there. Out of that, the one method where a solid can be converted into the gaseous ions, that is a desorption one. Now here look, a paper chromatography is a type of adsorption, partition, ion exchange, or JA. When we look at the chromatographic technique or chromatographic process, the two phases are involved. One is a mobile phase, another is a stationary phase. Now here a paper chromatography is performed using some paper and it is dipped into the mobile phase. The liquid is a mobile phase, and here the sample is applied on the paper where water molecules which are interlocked between the alpha cellulose fibers of that paper, these water molecules are acting as a stationary phase. So stationary phase is liquid, and when liquid is a stationary phase and mobile phase is also liquid, it is a kind of partition chromatography, right? So here the answer is a partition chromatography, because in paper chromatography mobile phase and stationary phase both are liquids. The liquid or water in the fibers of the paper, it is acting as a stationary phase, and the paper is acting as a support for a stationary phase, that is water. Next, when only pure methanol is used as a solvent for development of chromatogram, the elution technique is called as. It looks like a straight question, but there is a little twist to confuse one. The statement is little enlarged. When only pure methanol is used as a solvent, it means the solvent or mobile phase used here is only one, that is methanol. And if you look at the elution techniques, these are of two types: isocratic elution and gradient elution. In isocratic elution, throughout the development, composition of mobile phase is same, whereas in gradient elution, the mobile phase composition changes during the development process. So here, when during the development process only one mobile phase, that is methanol, is there, the answer should be isocratic development process. It should not be a methanolic or alcoholic or polar. There is nothing like technique like methanolic or alcoholic or polar. So the other options can be, or these other options are eliminated straight by this way. The chromatographic band broadening is observed due to longitudinal diffusion, eddy diffusion, mass transfer, all of the above. If you look at this question is based upon a Van Dimter equation. This question is based upon a Van Dimter equation. What is Van Dimter equation? HETP is equal to AU plus B by U plus CU, where U is a speed of mobile phase in a stationary phase. HETP, height equivalent to the theoretical plate. When height equivalent to theoretical plate is smaller, or height of the theoretical plate is smaller, it means number of theoretical plates are more. It means number of equilibria generated between mobile phase and stationary phase are more, and the technique is more efficient. If HETP is higher, it means there is broad band broadening. The efficacy of that technique or resolution power of that technique is lesser. So here this is AU corresponds to longitudinal diffusion, B by U is eddy diffusion, and C by U is a mass transfer. So look at this chromatograph height of the theoretical plate or chromatographic band broadening is decided by all three things: longitudinal diffusion, eddy diffusion, as well as mass transfer. And these are governed by the speed of mobile phase in a stationary phase, that is U. So here the answer should be all of the above. The chromatographic band broadening is observed due to all these things. If all the things are in balance, you will have minimum height equivalent to theoretical plate, so more number of theoretical plates and more efficient technique. Moving to the next, the most suitable technique for analysis of complex mixtures of natural origin is HPLC, UPLC, HPTLC or PPLC. Now look at this, what we have to analyze. It is a kind of applied question, you can say. We have to analyze the complex mixture of a natural source. When a source is a natural, so we don't know what it contains. So if at all it contains anything that could damage your instrument or that could damage your component of the instrument, such instrument cannot be used for an unknown source of sample. When it is a natural source, we don't know the content of it, so we can't go for HPLC, because if there is something that could reversibly bind with HPLC columns, it may destroy HPLC column. So we can't go for HPLC. The UPLC is based on similar technique. So again, these both techniques are not used. PPLC, there is no technique like PPLC, whereas HPTLC, here the plates are used. It is not a column chromatography, it is a planar chromatography, where sample is only applied on a plate. So wherever is a thing, there is no question of damaging instrument because of the sample, or there is no question of damaging any component of the instrument because of the sample. So the best way is, or preferred way is, or suitable way is HPTLC. So answer is HPTLC. Next, the detector in which Wheatstone bridge circuit is used. Again, it is a straight line pick question. TCD, thermal conductivity detector, is there where the Wheatstone bridge circuit is used. Whenever there is imbalance, whenever there is a change in resistance, that could be recorded by use of Wheatstone bridge. This technique is used in thermal conductivity detector. Next one, the component of HPLC used for degassing. Now see, in HPLC, the mobile phase needs to be degassed. The dissolved gases from the mobile phase needs to be removed, so that there may not be a distortion in the pick. So to remove this, the spargers are used. Okay, so this is again a line pick type of question. The spargers, where the gas is bubbled in the mobile phase, that removes the dissolved gases, and the degassing can be achieved of the mobile phase. Now the pumps used in HPLC includes, again straightforward question, there are different types of pumps used in HPLC, like reciprocating pump, pneumatic pump and displacement pump. So answer is all of the above. UV detection is in HPLC is a type of. Now look, the detectors used are broadly of two categories. It may be a bulk property detector or a solute property detector. Bulk property detector means who sense change in bulk atom. When we consider a mixture or a solution, there are two things, solute and solvent. It forms a solution. If something change with respect to solvent is considered, it means there is a change of bulk, the bulk property change. Or if something that a property of solute or change in property of solute is detected, or involvement of solute in this particular process, if it is detected, it is a solid property detector. See, UV detection is based upon absorption by a eluted species. Absorption by a component means it is a property of that solute who is involved in absorption of UV light. So it is a kind of solute property detector. Next one, which of the following is a hyphenated technique? Now, what is hyphenated technique? Where two techniques are combined. When chromatography is combined with spectroscopy, it becomes a hyphenated technique. FTIR, it is not a hyphenated technique. HPTLC, it is again a separate. HPLC, again a separate. But LCMS, liquid chromatography, is coupled with mass spectrometry. Where in liquid chromatography, the components are separated on the basis of their affinity towards mobile phase and stationary phase in the liquid chromatography, and separated component one by one enters into the mass spectrometer where it detects mass of each separated component. So separation as well as detection is achieved with this hyphenation. So here answer is LCMS. This is a hyphenated technique. Thank you.